Yashoda-nandana vraja-jana-ranjana Yamuna-tira-vanachari Yamuna-tira-vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda-nandana vraja-jana-ranjana Yashoda-nandana vraja-jana-ranjana Yamuna-tira-vanachari Yamuna-tira-vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Stotra Sat Shri Srimad Abhidhatte Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Acharya Stotra Sat Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glorious to assembled devotees All glorious to assembled devotees All glorious to assembled devotees All glorious to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam Dharam chaiva narotamam Devim sarasatyam vyasam Tato jayam udirayet Nashtapriyesha padreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Hare Krishna, welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are resuming from Canto 3, Chapter 33, entitled Activities of Lord Kapila. So there are a couple of verses without purports, so I believe we'll start on 35, 36, and then 37 we can chant together. That one has the purport. The first two I'll just read myself. Aste yogam samastaya Sāṅkhya ācāryera bhidhatte trayanam apilokanam upashantyaya samahita. Even now, Kapila Muni is staying there in trance for the deliverance of the conditioned souls in the three worlds. And all the ācāryas, or great teachers, of the system of Sāṅkhya philosophy are worshipping him. Etan nigaditam tata yat prishtoham tavanaga kapilyasya cha samvado devahutyascha pavana. My dear son, since you have inquired from me, I have answered. O sinless one, the descriptions of Kapiladeva and his mother and their activities are the purest of all pure discourses. Text 37. Ya idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte Ya idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketāv upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam Ya idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketav upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam Ya idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketav upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketau upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketau upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam. Vaishnavis. Ya idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam bhagavati kṛta-dhīḥ suparṇa-ketau idam anuśṛṇoti yo bhidhatte kapila-muner matam ātma-yoga-guhyam upalabhate bhagavat-padāravindam. Ya, whoever, idam, this, anuśṛṇoti, hears, ya, whoever, abhidhatte, expounds, Kapila Muni, of the sage Kapila, matam, instructions, ātma-yoga, based on meditation on the Lord, guhyam, confidential, bhagavati, on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, kṛta-dhīḥ, having fixed his mind, suparṇa-ketau, who has a banner of Garuḍa, upalabhate, achieves, bhagavat, of the Supreme Lord, pada-aravindam, the lotus feet. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The description of the dealings of Kapiladeva and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is carried by Garuḍa, and he thereafter enters into the abode of the Supreme Lord to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Purport. The narration of Kapiladeva and his mother, Devahuti, is so perfect and transcendental that even if one only hears or reads this description, he achieves the highest perfectional goal of life, for he engages in the loving service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no doubt that Devahuti, who had the Supreme Lord as her son, and who followed the instructions of Kapiladeva so nicely, attained the highest perfection of human life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 33rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Activities of Kapila. End of the 3rd canto. Hare Krishna. Om jnanatimirandasya jnanjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamulam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Parishtai Bhutale Srimate Vaisheshakadasa Harikariti Namane Nama Praharsha Shilaya Prabhupada Nusarane Nitita Hide Tasmai Shastra Bhajana Chodane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Parishtai Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vrishadine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyati Deshadharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So that's pretty awesome. The end of the 3rd canto, Haribol. I think we all deserve a pat on the back for that. So I definitely feel honored to read the last couple of verses in the 3rd canto, namely because it's taken a really long time. I remember joining the ashram about 3 years ago, and we were still reading the 3rd canto. We were on the 7th chapter, and if I think it's all going over my head now, then it was really a whole new world to me. I wasn't reading Bhagavatam at that time, so to sit in the association of devotees and do that was really an amazing thing. So yeah, we've come a long way in this 3rd canto. I'm not going to give like a crazy summary of the whole 3rd canto or anything. I'm not like a pundit. We'll leave that for Garuḍa Chandra Prabhu to give one of his awesome PowerPoints, like breaks everything down. But I can describe at least a little bit of an idea of how 3 years of attending Bhagavatam class and simply hearing, as we hear in this purport and in this verse, has transformed myself, how it can transform other people, the mechanism behind hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's something we do every day, and that's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to come and attend Bhagavatam class every day. People might question, though, how coming and doing something which may seem monotonous, something routine, coming and sitting in the same class every single day, doing the same thing over and over, how that is supposed to transform you or change you. It seems like that kind of monotonous routine is the definition of stagnation. Nothing's going on in your life. Nothing's changing. You're just going and you're reading the same book every day. But actually it's not true, because we are here coming in contact with a different kind of sound vibration. We're coming in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna. When Krishna left this world, he left us Srimad Bhagavatam, so it's his literary incarnation. So our attendance daily in the Srimad Bhagavatam class is not a monotonous activity in the mundane sense of it. It certainly is a routine. So although some may criticize our lifestyle, we do the same thing every day. We wake up 4 a.m., come and worship the deity, and sit in this class. We also have to recognize that the average materialistic person, they are also living a very monotonous lifestyle. They're doing the same thing over and over again. They're going to work, working their 9 to 5 with the same people, doing the same stuff to get their paycheck. Except the only difference is most people don't like what they're doing, and we absolutely love what we're doing. And that there's a completely different effect. It says in the first canto, I'm trying to memorize this verse, so instead I have it written down. Ayur harati vaipumsam udyan astam chayanaso tasyarte yat kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. That both by the rising and the setting, the sun is diminishing everyone's lifespan, except for those who utilize their time in discussing the topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. So it may seem that we also are just stuck in our routine, doing something monotonous, waking up every day, coming to our class, and so are the materialists, are doing the same thing, so what different benefit do we have? Well, we're talking about Krishna. So when you talk about Krishna, this effect of time, it doesn't affect you in the same way, because the materialists, they're afraid of the time factor, because the time factor means birth, death, old age, and disease. It means the inevitable separation of their objects of sense gratification, everything that they've worked so hard for. Earlier in this canto, when Kapiladeva is instructing his mother, he gets into some pretty heavy statements where he says that whatever is produced by the materialist with great pain and labor for so-called happiness, the Supreme Personality, as a time factor, Kala, destroys, and for this reason the conditioned soul laments. So for the materialistic person, the time factor is their greatest enemy. Even for the atheistic person, we understand that they meet the Lord in the form of cruel time and cruel death, which are in many ways synonymous. But for the devotee, they're not afraid of time, really, because they're living in a timeless consciousness. They're fixed on that which is sat, that which is eternal. And wherever there's Krishna-kṛta, they're happy. Machchita matkata prana bodhyanta parasparam kachiyantas chamam nityam dushanti cha ramanti cha. That the devotees, they gain great bliss and satisfaction simply from coming together and engaging in this Krishna-kṛta. So externally, it may seem similar that we have these routine lifestyles, but actually what we're engaging in, the Shravanam, is to our eternal benefit. So previously to Krishna consciousness, my first 22 years on this planet, the sun was a symbol for my march towards death, basically, to the end of this life. But in Krishna consciousness, doing the same thing over and over, it doesn't eat away at you, it doesn't leave you dissatisfied, it doesn't leave you frustrated, it doesn't lead to anger, but instead it actually, it reveals who you actually are, it brings you to your best self, it reveals the best version of yourself, and so therefore we can conclude that coming and sitting in the association of devotees, coming to Bhagavatam class, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it has the best possible ROA of anything you can do, anything in this entire universe. The best return on your attention is to sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. If I wasn't doing this, most people my age spend somewhere between 5 and 8 hours a day on their cell phones, on the internet, whether it's the news or games or politics, entertainment. It's a pretty good simulation of a hamster wheel. Actually, you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it's the same thing a hamster does. They're just running and running, but it just leads them in circles, and it doesn't actually go anywhere. It doesn't have any long-term benefit. So the return on attention, which is our greatest asset, our attention, it's like a superpower. It is very poor. They put all of their attention into these things, but what do they receive? Nothing. They receive nothing, unfortunately. But the devotees, all of our time and energy that we come and we sit and we engage in this process of hearing, it all goes to our eternal benefit. There is no loss or diminution in this regard. But even devotees may think that attendance in Srimad Bhagavatam class is not so necessary, that maybe I know all that stuff already, I've heard that pastime 1,000,000 times, I know I'm not my body, I know how many yojanas are in this and that, I know how many years Lord Brahma lived, don't bother me, I got it, it's cool, I'll read Bhagavatam here and there when I want to, but what's really the use of coming to the Srimad Bhagavatam class? I know all this stuff already. But that's the first mistake, really, is thinking that coming to Bhagavatam class is meant simply to attain knowledge, is to get knowledge. That comes, that's more symptomatic, but actually, first and foremost, Srimad Bhagavatam class is about coming into the association of devotees and engaging in the process of hearing, and getting their association, but not just the association of the devotees in this room, but the association of Srila Prabhupada, who is present in his books, and everyone else in the Srimad Bhagavatam who makes an appearance in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I believe it's the first canto where Prabhupada thanks Narada Muni for his appearance in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, that's crazy. The pure devotee is actually seeing that when such devotees are written of in the Bhagavatam, it's not just that they're written of, but they're actually eternally present here in this transcendental sound vibration. And so here we come in Bhagavatam class to get association and to purify ourselves in that way through, as we recited before the class, oftentimes, nashtaprayesha vadreshu, that by regular attendance in Bhagavatam class, and by rendering service to the devotees, all that is troublesome in the heart becomes vanquished. So it even says it in the Bhagavatam, regular hearing of the Bhagavatam class. So Prabhupada has set up this really nice system in which we can engage in this in a regulated fashion. And so we also put ourselves, we also come to Bhagavatam class to put ourselves in the shoes of Maharaj Parikshit, who is arguably the main character of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is being heard through Maharaj Parikshit. Obviously, it's kind of like stories embedded within each other. So actually, the Shonaka Rishi and the sages Naimisharanya. But essentially, all these devotees are engaging in this process of hearing, and they have such great taste for it. And so we know of the 9 limbs of bhakti, Maharaj Parikshit, he is the exemplar for Shravanam. He's the exemplar for the process of hearing. And he had such great taste for hearing that they didn't eat or sleep, not just Maharaj Parikshit, but all the sages assembled there on the bank of the Ganga, hearing Shukadeva Goswami recite Bhagavatam. For the whole 7 days that it took to recite Bhagavatam, no one ate or slept at all. And it's taken me a while for, Bhagavatam to become like, a class for me. At first it was just that thing, someone starts talking before we take prasadam, and they're just introducing the prasadam, or something like that. But they weren't thinking about eating or even sleeping or anything like this. They were completely fixed like that. So coming to this class, coming to the Bhagavatam class, it is a sign of taste, or at least it's the method to develop taste. It is a sign of urgency, of spiritual greed, that I have to come to Bhagavatam class. I have to sit in the association of devotees, and I have to hear what the Bhagavatam speaker has to say today. And this shows that that person understands that time is of the essence. That just like Maharaj Parikshit, he was actually in a fortunate position because he knew how much time he had to live. He had 7 days to live. We are in many ways in an unfortunate position, not being cursed, because we don't know how much time we have to live, and so we're very easily put into the illusion that I have all the time to live. But those who realize the value of the human form of life, that time is of the essence, they understand that spiritual greed is important, like that. So we're hearing in this verse and in many others that just by hearing this narration, hearing this pastime, by the process of hearing, one can become a pure devotee. One can attain the highest goal of life. We hear many such benedictions throughout the Bhagavatam. And yeah, it's amazing, becoming a pure devotee just by hearing. Yesterday, I really like what bhagavati Prabhu said. He said, I just want to become an A student. I just want to be able to do everything right. And that really resonated with me. It was a nice way for me to think about it. Just, pass all my exams, just do everything exactly how I'm supposed to, become an A student, become pure, endeavor to become pure. And previously to reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I definitely didn't aspire for purity. The idea of becoming pure wasn't like a goal in my life. I didn't think that was something you should strive for or something that's even possible, purity. You just assume, we're all full of faults, which is true, at least speaking for myself, and that don't try too hard. Don't try to become perfect or pure. That's just, it's unreasonable. But after the 3 years I've been here reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I now feel confident that purity is something that can be achieved. As all the pastimes we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam, people becoming purified, and developing faith in Bhagavatam, it helps us understand that it is a real possibility, and that we should definitely endeavor for it. Also in this verse, though it's mentioning that this transaction is very confidential, it's another phrase or term we hear after these discussions. Even in the Bhagavad Gita we hear, this is the most confidential knowledge. This is a very confidential conversation. So how is it that someone like myself or any fallen soul is getting this? If it's we keep calling it confidential, I definitely don't feel like I am within some high echelon of people who have access to sacred knowledge. It's really amazing. I remember, it might have been a couple years ago now, going out on book distribution with bhagavati Prabhu. Must have been during the summer or when the schools weren't in, so we had to go to a parking lot. And at the end of the day, he shared with me just the absurdity of what we were doing. We're going to a parking lot, with books in a shopping cart, in a neighborhood where most people spoke Spanish, and we don't speak Spanish. So we're approaching people who don't even, speak the same language as us, and then we're giving them these books with a photograph of God on it, and then it says Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we're saying here, take this, put it in your shopping cart with some that has pork in it and all your sodas and all this stuff, and just give us a couple bucks. And that's how people are getting access to this confidential knowledge. It was just like totally absurd. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. We're just walking around with these books with God's photograph on it practically. It says like, oh, Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is his biography. It's like totally mind-blowing. So this is happening because of Prabhupada's desire. He has been tasked to come here and spread this Krishna consciousness primarily through his books. That was the instruction from his spiritual master. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have done it himself, but as Srila Prabhupada said, he wanted to give me the credit. That's the nature of Krishna. He likes to give credit to his devotees. So similarly, we were at Comic-Con this weekend, and that was pretty interesting too. That was my first Comic-Con. I'd definitely seen videos, and you hear a lot about it, and it's a bunch of kind of nerdy stuff and comic books. And we're trying to distribute books, as Bhagavad was saying yesterday. We're distributing Saptarishi sets, a stack of 7 hard books bound up. And we're trying to convince people, take these books is what you need. But people there, the last thing they're looking for is God. In one sense, they are looking for God, actually. Because what they're engaged in is actually just a perverted reflection of the natural propensity for the soul. They're all going around finding something to give themselves to devote themselves to. It's the natural propensity to want to give yourself to something, to devote yourself, to devote your worship practically to something, your time, your attention, your love, your adoration, to idolize something. And that's what this whole convention was about. So whoever is organizing these events, they're geniuses. They're making millions of dollars because these people have misplaced their loving propensity. They've misplaced their propensity to want to give themselves fully to something, to surrender to something, to worship something. And so they're out here buying little idols and dolls, which again is clearly some perverted form of deity worship. And collectibles, oh, this is a rare thing that the actor from Star Wars wore. And it's getting Mahaprasadam from oh, this is Indradyumna Maharaj's bead bag. It's the same thing, So it's totally crazy. So you think how are these people going to take these books? But nonetheless, I realized that actually these books are amazing. Bhagavatam is amazing. Prabhupada's books are amazing because anyone can become attracted to them. Again, that natural propensity is there. It's just perverted. And after ultimately everything comes from them. So one of the lines I was using at Comic-Con, I was telling people, because Lord of the Rings is a big thing that these people are into. And I remember watching it when I was young. It was wizards and dragons and all sorts of stuff like that. So I had the Bhagavatam there, and there's the 12th canto, I think, and it has a picture of the dragon consuming Maharaj Parikshit in the fire. And I went, hey, you like Lord of the Rings, right? And practically 99% of them said, yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. Well, actually, we're monks, and we're distributing this ancient literature. This book right here, and I showed them the picture. Luckily, BBT put it on the cover. Thank you, BBT. Shows the snake bird. This book is 5,000 years old. It has the first historically accurate depiction of a dragon anywhere in history. And back then in Sanskrit, they called them snake birds, and they breathed fire. So basically, we're showing people that all this fantasy, all these stories that you see around here, is actually coming from this ancient literature. And therefore, we're trying to reconnect you with your ancient past. And people were like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. For some reason, that made sense to them. And yeah, whether people are into history or action, we definitely have that. Romance, absolutely. Comedy, yes, there's lots of funny stuff in the Bhagavatam, believe it or not. Science, yeah, there's astronomy, there's anatomy. A couple of verses ago, we were seeing how accurately it was describing the child in the womb. There's all of this stuff. So Bhagavatam actually has something for everyone. When sometimes we're on book distribution, Bhagavad Prabhu's line, someone comes up and you say, hey, what's your major? What do you do? And they say, oh, I'm a psychologist. Oh, great, here, these books are on inner psychology. Or someone says, I'm a kinesiology, which is like athletic, like something like that. Oh, these books are on inner kinesiology. And it's true. Prabhupada's books have everything in it. You name it. So therefore, these books are for everyone. And we should be trying to distribute them as much as possible. Srila Prabhupada poured gallons of blood into making these books a reality, onto translating them into the English language. And so all we have to do is read them and to distribute them. So personally, I feel very grateful for this opportunity to be able to come to class every day at this beautiful temple. Again, 3 years of reading this same third canto has been extremely purifying. I can attest to its ability to turn a human-shaped animal into an aspiring human who likes Krishna a little bit. So I specifically want to thank all the devotees who make this class happen, who make the temple function. Suhas Prabhu for maintaining this temple so nicely. Brigapati Prabhu for arranging the class schedule. Mayapur Shashi Prabhu, I know you're in your office. He's live streaming everything. If you miss a class, you can watch it there. So it's really amazing we have this opportunity, so we should definitely take advantage of it before it's too late. It's really priceless that we get to come here and sit. And as this verse says, just by hearing these narrations, one can become a pure devotee. So what is there to lose? So thank you so much for your kind attention in today's class. And if there are any comments or corrections or reflections, speak now or forever hold your peace. Any? Yes, Sahadev.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was appreciating in the beginning you were clarifying a doubt that some people might have when they begin Krishna consciousness or even recurring throughout their devotional service, that I'm actually just doing a normal mundane routine. How am I different from other people in material life? They also have obligations, they have a routine, they have to do things. But yeah, you were saying we have the freedom of our consciousness connecting with Krishna, which is eternal, connecting with with something eternal. So it was really nice. And so therefore time is not scary, and death is not scary for devotees because of our activities. And just being in California, it reminded me of this novel by John Steinbeck, Of Mice and Men. Many people probably read it at some point in their lives. And the title was inspired from this Scottish poem. And in the poem there's a line that says, "The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, and leave for us only grief for the joy we expected." And so, just appreciated your class and how we can avoid all of that by attending Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Srila Prabhupada's books.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Definitely though, that is, it is worth mentioning that you can do devotional service mechanically and not get the fruit of devotional service. That is still there. That is a possibility. So we have to check in with ourselves and make sure we're not doing that either. If we're not doing it in the mode of surrender, then the real fruit of devotional service, it doesn't really arise. So we definitely have to be doing it in the right way. So in Bhagavatam class, hearing definitely is like automatically purifying, but we'll make so much more advancement if we add contemplation as well. Even if we don't fully understand it, just hearing attentively and attempting to contemplate, Krishna will provide the intelligence, and who knows what realizations you will get. Yes, Suhas Prabhu.
Hi, thank you for a nice class. I just like to say that I've been here in the Srimad Bhagavatam class for 54 years. And in that span of time, whenever you go through so many different volumes and cantos, still you'll open up the book and you say, I don't remember reading that.
Yeah.
I can't believe I really? And sometimes you hear the realizations of a devotee and they give you the realizations, then you think, wow, that's great. So you would think after all this time that you would really absorb everything and get it be hackneyed. But in reality, it's not hackneyed. It's just like, okay, now we're going into the fourth canto. I don't know how many times I've heard the fourth canto, but I'm still thinking, wow, great, fourth canto. I'm thinking, I can't wait. There's some beautiful stories, beautiful pastimes. So yeah, those of you that are here, not so long, you'll be surprised that you'll be here 50 years later, and you will relish here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And you'll relish it because there'll always be some kind of new information that you'll absorb and that you'll understand and get a realization from. So that's really important, because those realizations, it gives you impetus to continue on with your Krishna consciousness. And so it does happen that way.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's actually a really nice reflection that I should have included, is that just as Bhagavatam coming from the lips of Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami, Tamaraj Parikshit, and then Sutta Goswami was in that assembly, and giving it to Shonika Rishi, and it's going down and down to the Ācāryas and Srila Prabhupada, and it gets sweeter and sweeter. So it's a unique opportunity to come to Bhagavatam class, because these devotees who are sitting here, maybe save and except for myself, but the devotees who come here, they have many realizations, and they're realizations that you won't find anywhere else. So to come and take that opportunity to hear, how has this devotee realized this passage, this purport? It's so amazing, because it's never the same. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the class. I emphasize, and I consider myself greatly blessed to be able to be here today. What I'm going to say might seem a little shocking to some of the viewers, so before I say it, I'd like to emphasize that everyone's invited to come and dance and sing and eat delicious prasad, because really I don't think there are evil people. It's just when we get stressed too much by our environment, right? The hippocampus, it goes smaller, the amygdala increases, right, in the inner reptile brain, and so that decreases memory, focus, attention, and so much stress, right, it gets to us, and that increases the mode of ignorance, right? And so when we reduce that stress, then we can gradually get absorbed into the mode of goodness, and then realize that really like a 9-to-5 work schedule, and it's preferable, right? Like all the science of the sun, the moon, the earth, and the human body say it. And then also the structure, right? It might seem, I'm very reluctant to say animal life. I think it's very, very kind, right? It's beautiful to say it that way. But
definitely.
In a way, it agrees a whole...
I couldn't have put it any better myself. The way you just said that was just mind-blowing. It really touched my heart and soul. But I think we're out of time. So,
right.
So we can discuss afterwards. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, not a word.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Grantar Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.